Welcome to Jurassic Park.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Why don't we just wait here for a little while?
Do you want to know what it is?
There's no knowing where you might be swept off to.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Shepherds we shall be, for thee, my Lord, for thee.
I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
There's a special rug in hell reserved for people who waste good scotch.
He peed on my rug!
He peed on the dude's rug.
Do your worst.
Final report. The commercial starship Nostromo.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Welcome to your feature presentation. I am your host, Heath Fall, and today we have movie talk, and that movie talk is Extreme Days. This is a early 2000s Christian not motorcycles, skateboard, half pipe extreme games thing. So we're going to talk about this movie today. With me in the round table is Andrew McKay.
Hello. What do we got here? Greetings, movie aficionados. Yeah. Why? I can't do this. Why did the movie fan bring a pencil to the movie theater?
Why?
To draw their own conclusions.
I mean, yeah, that's obvious, right?
That's what we got. Yeah, that's right.
Delightful. And also with us today, we have a guest. He is CEO of Integrity Asphalt and host of the 7-Day Hustle podcast, Kyle Ascione.
Thank you very much, Heath. It's a pleasure to be here. I just have one question though.
Okay.
Are we on or are we on standby?
Whoa, very good question.
Put it on standby. Kyle, I have a statement to make to you.
Yeah.
And it is, I need $2,000 or a miracle.
Well, maybe I'm your miracle.
Whoa!
Oh, ayo.
So yeah, this is a 2000, I think it's 2001.
2001.
This is the most baffling statement to me that it's a 2001 Christian movie, but it was made by MTV.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah. It's Eric Hanna is the director. I don't think he hasn't done, and all these actors, I think,
They've acted before.
Yeah, they've acted. Let's go around and hear how we each found out about this random movie. And this was definitely one where, like, this is such an odd movie that we all, especially me and Kyle, have in common, that from our childhood, a lot of nostalgia. So yeah, let's go around the circle and we'll start with Andrew. How did you hear about this movie?
Oh, baby. Heard about this movie because we're doing this episode.
Beautiful.
Which is very interesting because I was in a very similar circle to Heath. Kyle, I don't know about you, but I was homeschooled until high school. So you would think I would have heard about this movie, but we didn't have a TV for a long time. So I was more homeschooled than you guys. Whatever.
Oh, because you didn't have a TV?
The homest,
yeah, exactly.
Schooled.
Yes, yeah, the homiest schooled. So no, I had never heard of this movie. I did recognize all of the music though. Every time there was any song played, I was like just taken back to youth group. Well, in my case, it was like elementary school music. Like my older brothers, the music they were listening to when I was in elementary school. So that was quite the experience. The one thing that really stuck out to me, just initial reaction, it was like 5-10 minutes into the movie, is that Corey Dante Bosco is in this movie.
Yeah, I knew you were going to bring this up.
Dude, and he voices not only the little kid in Jake the American Dragon, or wait, yeah, that's the one. He also voices Zuko in Avatar: The Last Airbender. And so I just had a ride of a time hearing him speak. It was great.
Yeah, and he's also a little character called, was it Rufio in Hook?
Oh, really? I had no idea.
Looky, I've got Hooky. Um, yeah, it is a 2000. My computer is being so slow right now. It's probably because I'm talking with you fools. I would want to read the little bio here real quick. So this movie, Extreme Days, 2001, as four lifelong friends, Will, Brian, Matt, and Corey are on a road trip. They've been playing their whole lives. Corey's beloved grandfather unexpectedly dies. When they go to claim Corey's inheritance, the gang meets Paul's beautiful cousin Jesse and embark on a hilarious adventure.
Shout
I
out
Uh,
Grandpa
mean,
G.
Grandpa
it's
G.
true. It's a true statement. This movie for me is like I Heath, you probably know this. I feel like it's like an interpretation of my life for one thing, because like growing up watching it, I don't really know how it was introduced other than like Christian homeschooled household, Christian film. You guys should probably watch this at some point in time.
Yeah.
And then, or it was probably actually, if I would have to guess, it was probably seen in a Christian bookstore and it was the most intriguing, entertaining thing in there as far as movies go. I think that's where it started for me. It's like, I got to see what this is all about.
Yeah, and I
But
think you showed it to me. That's how I found out about it.
is that how it worked?
That's for me, yeah, because I remember, yeah, I think you introduced it to me, and then it became like a regular of
Okay.
we're watching this movie together.
Yeah.
Um, and then we just started introducing it to different people. And this movie is, I would say, I people might say cheesy. I prefer campy as a term.
Okay.
Um, but I remember we even were on a bus to go to camp in New York, and we played this movie for the whole bus, which is our youth group, and even the other kids in the youth group were like, "What is this movie?"
You know, I was wondering that as I was watching it because I rewatched it today. And mind you, like so much of it has been ingrained in my memory. Part of me was like, I don't need to watch it again. I know the movie front to back. But I did. And I'm glad that I did because I saw it through a different perspective for one thing. And towards the end of it, I'm like, I wonder if this movie is really cheesy and I just don't see it that way because I have such an appreciation for it.
Yeah. Well, and actually, that's why I wanted to have Andrew watch it with fresh eyes too, because I know you came from similar circles, but this is your first time watching it. Like, what did you think of it? Like,
Yeah, it's very Christian media, absolutely, which I'm very familiar with. So it felt like I knew this movie already, and yet had never seen it. Um, the the tropes, like, do they ever? No, they do kiss. They do kiss, which is shocking to me. The fact that
Yeah.
they kissed, I was like, that was allowed. But as soon as they kissed, it was like, we'll probably get to this later. She was like, "You want to have sex with me, and now I'm leaving." And he was like, "We just kissed. What the heck is going on?"
You don't even know
And
what
I
I
was,
was thinking.
"Yeah, you don't. We didn't even talk about it."
I
Um, so that's all very just like I'm very familiar with that culture. Um, I think that I wouldn't say it was cheesy. Maybe I could say it was campy. I would just say it was very 2001.
yeah.
Mm.
Like the voiceover narrating, um, like the yeah, look at this guy. Yeah, that's me. Bet you wondering how I got here type thing. Like this is the best like snowboard trip, paintball fight of our entire life. Um, it was just so 2001. So I enjoyed it. Um, I'm glad it was free. I watched it for free.
Yeah.
With the
But
paintball guns that didn't actually have any hoppers in them for the first entire scene.
yeah, and I noticed they were like rolling on their backs upside down, shooting paintball guns or shooting paintballs. I was like,
Wait, there's no
I don't think
hopper on
that's
that. How do you have any ammo?
yeah.
And there's the
The
exact
producers said no hoppers. That's too dangerous. We don't want anyone to get hit with a paintball.
no hoppers, guys. We can't do it. Uh,
No.
Yeah,
we can. There's a few paintball fights in this movie, but yeah, the first one I don't think they have hoppers. The second one, to begin with, they don't have tanks. And then there's tanks later on, but there's one sound effect for the paintball shooting. Ticka-da, 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 ticka-da. It's like, does not sound like a paintball gun.
No.
And then they put some like, they also, I feel like this movie is hard to hate, in my opinion, because you can tell they had fun doing it. Like, they put ricochet sound effects in the paintball guns. Like, you could tell they were just like,
Yeah.
all these scenes were just like, what'd be cool? Do that,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's
The
just, you
kung
can
fu
tell.
fighting scene when they're fighting over the campsite. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
And
I think I was like, go ahead.
fully dubbed over. Just like,
Except for Matt.
yeah.
Everyone was dubbed over except for Matt was talking regular, which I thought was a nice touch. Like
Hey,
everyone was like,
those are fighting words.
I think at the
oh
end
yeah,
we
he
should
was.
have a favorite quote from this movie. That's how we
Oh,
should
Oh,
end
I
it.
already got that. I already got that. We're
Oh,
good. I'll
save
save
it.
that for
I'll
the
have to
end.
think about. I'll have to think about that one.
So
Wow.
let's just start going through this movie. And we'll just talk about stuff. I can kind of guide us through. And if anybody has something to say or they want to talk about it, just say it. Speak up and we'll have
So I
fun.
have a question
Ooh, what's your
about the
question?
movie. Did anybody else get the feeling that this movie is basically, it's an older movie, 2001, comparative to times? The movie is basically like reels, current day reels, edited into an entire hour and a half movie.
That
I
makes sense.
Did
I
anybody
could
else
agree with
get that?
that. I felt like it was a lot. If you really look at it as a movie watcher, it does feel more like a bunch of skits,
Yeah, I
a
was
bunch of
like,
shorts.
all this is reels, like Instagram reels, TikTok reels compiled into a movie.
Yeah.
Like none of it makes sense. It's kind of funny. If you were to take, a 15-second excerpt from that movie and turn it into a reel, it would probably get a lot of views just because it's entertaining.
Yeah. And that should be our mission. The rest of the time we'll stop with content and just make extreme days reels. That's all we do.
That's it.
Also to put it in perspective, as we talk about like movies of this era, Fast and the Furious, the first one came out in 2001. So like,
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's so funny because I think you could look at this movie and be like, I mean, I do think it is very cheesy, very Christian, but the movies that it was going up against, I was like, oh, that's pretty quality for just a not in a derogatory term, but it's like a Christian movie. It's like, oh, that's
Right.
fun. It's amusing.
Right.
Andrew, did it make you chuckle?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I had many chuckles and dare I say many giggles, some laughs. I think I was. I sat down with the movie and nerd alert. I was sorting through some Magic cards, Magic the Gathering.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, this will be nice. Like, pull through some cards and watch this movie. And I just stopped like messing with the cards. And I was like, I'm just gonna watch this movie. Um, yeah, it was just I think that your description of it being just a bunch of skits thrown together and that they're just having loads and loads of fun is very accurate. And that just brought me a lot of joy. Like I could tell that um it was just a blast to do. And it was like, let's go to this location and we'll see what happens. And they're just like, okay. But I have a question. Um,
Oh, you guys are with the question. I feel like both of you keep setting up. I have a question.
wait, what was Kyle's question? Did I miss Kyle's question?
If
What
I
did
was
you?
the only one that thought it was skits.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. So
Yeah.
I'm tracking. Okay, I was like, what? Um,
But I have a question for you, Andrew.
hey, question
What
for you.
question for
Can you
you?
The Muffin
stop?
Man.
The Muffin Man?
Wrong movie, wrong movie.
We'll do a pod about Shrek. Well, hey, my question's gone. I don't remember it.
Oh
Your
no.
fault. Move on, keep it rolling.
Oh,
I know
well,
that this movie for me might seem a little weird, but I feel like I have an emotional attachment to this movie for whatever reason. Like I'm not necessarily like movies are cool and movies are good and there's some that are better than others, but like I truly feel to this movie, I'm like, no, this like I have an emotional attachment to this movie. And I for whatever for me, watching it for the first time, it checked all of my boxes because I'm like, all right, there's lots of extreme sports going on. The music fits the mantra. So now like, there's basically a theme song in each scene going on. There's no plan, but the plan is to have fun. They're all doing it as friends. And it's like, well, we're all going to go on an adventure and we're just going to look for the next opportunity. And for me as a kid watching it, I'm like, that's how I want to be. Like, I want to be extreme. I want to enjoy doing it. I want to do it with friends. And I want to be able to just like kind of go on a wild ride of life, you know? And so then looking back at it now as, dare I say, an adult, because I definitely don't feel like that. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much how my life has gone, you know? And like it's one adventure after another. And the phrase that stuck out to me is when Matt said, well, this is crazy, guys, but that's never stopped us before. And I'm like, yes, Matt, you're right. Like,
He's right.
this is crazy, but that's never stopped us before. And then they go on the next thing, right? Um, that's I've got more to say, but I don't want to take over the setting, but like that's my attachment to the movie personally, and why I think I overlook the cheesiness of it because I see the messaging in it.
Yeah. It's just about a group of people going on a road trip. And I feel like all three of us just enjoy road trips, went on a lot of road trips and
Yeah.
identify with the random pit stop to get groceries and random campsites. You like, I don't know, it feels very familiar. And especially like, so I think for me and Kyle, 2001, we were both like 11, 12 when this came out. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think it's hard for me to look at it even critically because I'm like, I was in middle school when this came out and I thought it was the coolest movie ever, So
Mhm.
it's like when if someone were to, and we can put a link in the description because it's literally on YouTube. The whole movie is on
Yeah.
YouTube. And I think it'd be interesting to see what people think about it. It's like, I think that it's light, it's like an hour and a half, and it'd be funny to see what people think about it. But it's like, it's just light, it's just fun. And it's like, I look at it critically as critically I would look at like my younger brother when he was 10. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Don't take him too seriously.
yeah, it's like, hey, give him a break. He's trying.
Yeah. So you guys watching this movie at like 11, 12 years old, do you remember how old did you think those characters were?
Oh.
Well, I would say it felt right to me for two reasons. I think I was younger than they were by quite a bit
Mhm.
when I first saw this. And so they just graduated high school. So they were technically, oh no, they graduated
Junior
college,
college, which
junior
took them
college.
4 years.
Yeah.
except for oh my gosh, the main guy.
Will?
Will, yeah. He did it in two and they just thought he was a genius and he let them think that.
Yeah, that's right.
We did 4 years.
Yeah, of junior college.
I feel like I could almost recite that movie, truthfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
So
test it.
when the movie, like the first time you see Will, it's like just like a port, just like right here, his face. And they were like, "Yeah, we just graduated. We graduated high school. We were best friends when we were kids." So given all the backstory, everything, and we just graduated junior college, and now's our time to go on a road trip. And they showed Will's face, and I was like, "That guy's like 32. What? What?" And he's not. Like when they filmed it, he was 24. So like he was appropriately aged, but I feel like people in there, for some reason, to me, people in their early 20s in 2001 look so old to me. And it's
Yeah.
probably because like my older brother, looks like when he was 19, he could have been 40 in my perception. Like I
Lay
just
off the
had such a
cigarettes, little
weird,
bro.
yeah, like I just had such a weird perception of older dudes. And I thought like, oh, the maturity, they're like scarred by life and they're only like 19 years old or something like that. So I don't know. I was curious what you guys thought, like if they were appropriately cast for their age or what, because that was a little weird for me.
Yeah, I like I said, it was when we watched, well, at least when I watched it, I thought it was appropriate because it was just that's a couple years older than high school. I was middle school, maybe early high school. It's like it was like, yeah, I buy it.
All I think I thought was like, they're me soon.
Well, there you go.
That's what I thought.
So you watch this movie and you're like, I can't wait to do everything they're doing.
Oh yeah, because like I grew up riding dirt bikes. Like I liked hard rock music. They were all like similar um their character traits were similar. Like it was very it made a connection to our group of friends at the time because we were basically that same way. It's like, what are we going to do now? And it's whatever is the most entertaining to all of us. You know what I mean? Um, so I felt like I fit inside some like there was a good connection. It was relatable. That's what I'm looking for. It was very relatable. And so what they were doing, going on a trip, and it was like, all right, we're going to finish this one thing in life, school, and then we're going to do something that we always planned on with friends. And they did it. And I'm like, yeah, I could see that happening. I mean, we've done that, not necessarily traveled the country, but we would go to concerts, we would, you know, do a lot of things as our friend group, so kind of that next step in life, I was like, I want to do the same thing but bigger, and I want to just go experience, and it was very appealing to me. You know what was the a different takeaway this time watching it versus last time is their level of friendship. Like I said, I'm gonna have an emotional attachment to this movie, so I'll probably like, no, Alexa, turn off.
I noticed you're recording a podcast.
Yeah. So, so like I'm probably gonna analyze it a little bit more than the average person, but in their friendship, like at the beginning, Matt wanted to like get sidetracked, right? And everybody's like, no, dude, like we've been waiting for this our whole life, and they weren't gonna do it without him.
I'm manager at the Turkish Sailor. The Turkish
The
Sailor.
Sailor, which mind you, now I know what Baba Ganoush is, they were trying to sell him a hummus burger. And they probably had shawarma there, which is really good.
It is good.
So
Would you like falafel with that?
would you like a so yeah, they weren't gonna do it without their friend. They were very committed to each other, but then like they were free to be each other too. Like they were free to get mad at each other. They were free to joke around with each other. They were free to get like just be all of the things that a normal human is, and they all always accepted each other. You know, like that's one thing I noticed. I was like, these guys just are themselves. One person like
Yeah,
because there was
did
a couple. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, it's I was you what you were saying made me think about like, did they ever tell Matt to like cut it out? Because he's like the goofball. But I feel like they just let him do that. And like when he would say crazy stuff, they'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
there's some wisdom in there. Like they
Yeah.
truly, you're right. They truly let each person be who they were. When I think Brian, when he went to hit on Jesse, they were like, oh, okay, here he goes again. Like he's the guy who likes girls a lot, and they just let him do that. They let him
Right.
fail. They let him succeed. Like whatever. Like yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That is a very cool, interesting thing to pick up on.
Yeah, Matt was that's just Matt. That's who he is. But they would get pissed at each other sometimes too. It was like, it would be like siblings. You're like, cut it out, but like I'm
Told
not
you not to
gonna.
drink the water. I told him not to drink the
I told
water.
him not to drink the water.
Shut up, Will.
Or
Dude.
fighting over
Cut it out. Yeah.
fighting over the bed, and Matt is just like, okay, I'm getting naked and rubbing my butt on this bed because I want
Stick.
Oh, I'm so tired. And he smacks him with the backpack. I'm like, that's love.
Oh man. All right, let's roll through it. Like I said, I just want to kind of talk through the movie and let's keep the conversation going whenever you want to talk about something. Starts off with a paintball fight on a mountain. There's I just love I like when I feel like that's the moment when people first say, like, what am I watching? Full on snowboard. I think that's the only written for music for this movie.
I think so because the soundtrack, I believe it says something like paintball scene or something like that.
Yeah. I think it was the only the composer only wrote one piece of like action music.
Right. Actually,
And I
I'm gonna
think
look
there's some like yeah, look it up. There's like some synth under some scenes, but that's the best part about this early 2000s MTV produced Christian movie is it's basically just a bunch of music videos. Like I think this was their hey, we want to push these songs and like all these mix of current Christian artists that are, you know, and it was such a big part of the movie that they show these songs, and we'll get into this the action, the X Games stuff. Um, but yeah, so the paintball fight on the mountain with snowboarding down it. What'd you
So it's
guys think?
called Downhill Games.
Beautiful.
Downhill Games is the soundtrack behind that.
Also my nickname in high school.
Downhill Games. Quit clowning around.
So the music was done by Klaus Badelt
Yeah.
or Badel, who is credited as a composer on the Pirates of the Caribbean,
No.
Gladiator, Constantine. Wow.
So
So
Klaus is he's like a sub writer for Hans Zimmer.
yeah.
And I believe, like, no joke, he's the one that actually wrote, like, he's a pirate.
Wow.
Like, da 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 da. Like, if like anybody can look up that soundtrack, like, he's credited first in that. And who knows who actually wrote the most, but so an actual composer on this.
Humble beginnings.
Humble beginnings. Klaus, we're here for you, man.
Uh-oh. I was looking up I'm skipping ahead, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
What do you got, Kyle? You're varying things.
Well, we can get to that. We'll get to it because we haven't gotten to that part in the movie yet. But when we get there, I'll tell you. But it's in relation to the music along with it.
Well, the next thing I was going to bring up was the music. So go for it.
All right. So PAX 217, right? So we're going to skip ahead in the timeline of the movie. Also a different snowboarding scene, but different time in the movie. They're in the lodge afterwards. And quote unquote, Corey's cousin had a band and they're playing this song, right? Well, the song
woke up today in the present saying, hi, I had a revelation that I knew why.
Right. That band is PAX 217, and the song is called AM, like AM, PM, AM. And their music video is basically clips of Extreme Days. Have you ever watched it?
No.
It is. It's clips of Extreme Days, and I think that band, like when they did it, that was the actual band.
Yes, I know that's the real band
Yeah. So
in the movie.
that's basically their music video for that song is the same stage, the same setting, and then clips of the Extreme Days movie throughout the entire music video. But it's like same setting, same everything in the lodge.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I wonder if so music videos have directors usually. I wonder if the director is the same person. If he was like made this music video and he goes, "What if we made a movie out of this?" That'd
There
be
has to
awesome.
be something because they probably filmed a big portion of it at the same time. Like, all right, we're just gonna like the setting is here, the band's here on stage, we have the crowd, we have all of these things. Let's film a music video for this song. And then at some point in time, like the part that we use for the movie is going to be where Matt gets up on stage and says his poem.
So yeah, I'm watching it right now. Starts out with Corey on the the thing that's so funny.
With- as as a lifeguard.
Yeah, he's a lifeguard and oh man, it's so fun. Yeah, because I wonder there's things that I'm like, is he yeah, what happened first? Or how is this even like, you know what? This band, like, was this part of the deal that they're like, oh, we want you guys in this movie? That does feel like the most, it feels like it's a funny scene, but it feels very disjointed. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it feels like, because she comes up on stage like, yeah, I did take a pretty good fall today. It's like, wait, why is she on stage? Why is she, like, why does this crowd care? And they clearly don't. It's so funny. They're all just like standing there and like, yeah, this random person comes up on stage and tell them how about they fell snowboarding today. And I think
And
it
then he
was
punched
like,
this dude in the face.
I think it was like they shot the music video that day and we're like,
Yeah.
oh, we also want to shoot this movie scene too.
Right. Yeah, because in the music video, there's more of that stage crowd scene than you see in the movie, like way more.
Yeah, and it's literally that's probably the best way if people are like, I don't want to watch this whole movie. Just watch PAX 217 AM music video. We'll link that. And it's like you get the movie. You get the
Yeah.
humor. You get a song.
Yeah.
It- it's perfect. And it's like it
It's
also like
It's
makes no sense. Like, why is this music video like intercut with a movie? Like a full cast of characters, that are like, yeah.
and it's 3
it's
minutes
the
and
clip
34
notes.
seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Clip Notes
Yeah.
version.
Yeah.
So this is the funny part too to me. This music is ridiculous. So there's these straight up music videos that happen in this movie. So like I was explaining this to Andrew because it cracks me up, especially I didn't notice it in middle school, but now you watch this movie and it's like then we were going to go skateboarding and then it cuts to a straight up music video of people skateboarding and it has
Mm-hmm.
none of the main actors in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just turns into like an X Games video, which I feel like were so popular back then. Like you just like, here's a DVD of 10 1 hour videos of people skateboarding and just like me,
Yeah.
like that was so common back then.
But they set it up nice in the movie because they're like, we get to this next location and there was a bunch of locals doing this thing. And so we decided to go check it out. And then they cut to that, to the basically the event, which was another trigger of why I thought this is basically like social media in a movie, right? Because there's like inner dialogue and then there's our environment and then there's filming the environment that we went to. If that
Yeah, especially like on TikTok, people will film the things that they're doing and then dub them over later.
Right.
Which I think is just like we have narrative. When I say narrative media, I mean like we we create media very often and then narrate over it to explain. Um, but yeah, we still do that. 23 years later, people are still
Yeah.
making stuff. Um,
Would you be safe to say, or would you be comfortable with saying that really nobody was really, because I didn't make the connection until I watched this movie again. But I have not seen that since until we get to the social media space.
That style you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the time, it's hard to like say that straight up, but it seemed pretty unique at the time.
Yeah.
And especially like this movie really is. I could see you arguing it's not a great movie. I mean, I love it, but it's also like I think this was just an amalgamation of everything that people loved back then.
Oh, yeah.
Like we love a friend group on a road trip. We like X Games. We like rapcore, and just like yeah, just like
Combined with stupid humor and some romance and some,
yeah. It's like, yeah, they hit everything.
Yeah.
So if you do watch this on YouTube, the funniest part to me is I'm guessing what happened is some of the music would hit copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Because some of the songs were cut out for different songs.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was
Uh,
like, what is happening right now?
but it was also the most random songs to me that were still like, I think like the PAX 217 is still in there.
It is.
Like then like bands that are still active today, like Skillet and things like that, those aren't copyrighted, like the Newsboys, like, but it's all the obscure Christian bands that were here today, gone tomorrow. Like those ones seem to like be the ones that were some reason kicking copyright. But so yeah, if you do watch it on YouTube, there's a bunch of random just like drum tones.
Okay. Look. Instead, you can buy it for $7.99 as a VHS tape. Just do yourself a favor.
Yourself.
Okay.
I feel like you could get
Amazon
a VHS
has
player
it.
for $7.99.
VHS tape. You can probably find a VHS player and the tape for less than the $24.85 DVD.
Ooh.
$24.
Yeah, $24.85.
I can get
You can
like
buy one
two.
used from $2.83.
Ooh.
Now we're talking.
But yeah.
But
Well, I want a fresh printing of that DVD. I want it brand new.
if it's not sealed, I'm not watching it.
Yeah. I want the plastic on it.
I've actually had to buy this movie several times because I've purchased it in cellophane, unwrapped it, watched it, and then I've thrown it away because it's used and I want a fresh one.
I'm gonna buy two. I'm gonna buy one that never gets opened,
I'm tracking you.
and I'm gonna buy the other one that I watch.
Yeah. One
You're
to
a
stock,
collector, I see.
one to stock, one to rock.
Yeah, one. I mean,
Nice. I like
literally,
that.
just hang it up on a wall. Next time, I'll unblur
Yeah.
the screen, and it'll be either, oh, okay. Thought bubble. Instead of the DVD, I'll just get a poster of it.
That'll satisfy the
That's-
display. The
Yeah.
display
Yeah,
file.
that's probably
a
better.
legitimate, high quality photo of the movie.
Also,
Do you think a high quality photo of the movie exists?
I will make it exist.
Oh, great. Cool.
through the magic
But
of
you have a good point.
AI. Also, Kyle, your screen blur, it cracks me up because it works most of the time, but then there's the like a cardboard tube behind you that sometimes comes into focus. And it looks like a giant cigarette when it does.
I've been smoking the good ones.
That thing's giant.
Do you want to hear what Rotten Tomatoes has to say about it?
Oh, let's save that for the end. That would be fun.
Okay, all right.
Let's
We'll
do
save
that.
it.
So yeah, we talk a lot about just like I love the four friends aspect, the road trip, the car, the Turkish sailor. The beginning is like just watching them all get ready for the trip. Oh, it's like once again, it's like it's amusing. We all had the friend that would only bring food. We all had the friend who only brought clothes.
And we all had the friend that got in the car before everybody else and said, "Come on, guys, let's go."
Yep. All right, let's
and
go.
there was no room for anybody else. Like we're weren't prepared yet.
For the love of donuts. Let's go. It's such a quotable movie. I really love the quotes. It's so funny. Yeah.
So Andrew, did you catch at the beginning That the "Are we on or are we on standby" was a quote from the movie.
From a different. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I was
But
like,
what,
they quoted a different movie. Yeah.
no, that stuck out to us as kids. And so I didn't know if was it only something that stuck out to us, or did everybody catch on to that?
No, yeah, I caught it. So,
Okay.
I caught on to it.
I know you would.
Heath, you noticed? That's wow, that's crazy.
I caught on to it.
We still quote that. It's never stopped.
Well, we used to quote this movie so much. Like whenever someone was leaning on you, instead of saying "get off me" the normal way, you'd quote this movie saying "get off me, get off me." Like it changed the cadence of our voices, just like Austin Butler. We became these characters.
Yeah,
We
amazing
did.
tie-in. Amazing tie-in. Fade Rafa is also Elvis Presley.
I I don't consider myself much of an actor, but I'd say I'm an Austin Butler type, you know. Oh, come on, you got to laugh at that, right? There's just silence after that.
I had a nose exhale. I had a little.
Oh man. So what's the next thing that stood out? Oh, the surfing video. So yeah, that's the first. They're like, okay, we're going to Mexico, and it's a straight up video of surfers that there is not one main actor in it.
I was just noticing that as you were saying that.
Yeah, and I think this is the one you see their car at the beach
Yep.
before or after, and they just like high five a surfer. Like,
Like, hey, nice job, us
yeah,
being out there together.
But
but
they
That's
it's
all
great.
had 4 surfboards that they carried with them
right. And so like
until they fell off the back of the Toyota.
implied that they surfed, but we did not see any of these actors surf or even get in the water, honestly.
That's true. Well, other than the kiddie pool. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. They do get a little bit better. The skateboarding, I don't think they even show anyone holding a skateboard. Like they just like, yeah, we went skateboarding and they cut to a scene of skateboarders and then they cut to a different scene. I think the dirt bike video is the one where they don't show anybody we know, but at the end they show a scene where Matt rides up on an actual dirt bike. Like
Yeah.
I think that's the most extreme it gets. It's
Yeah.
like,
Corey and
oh,
Brian,
that's right. They're sitting on bikes.
they're sitting on bikes. I think one of them pulls up and kind of stops to talk to Brian. I think Brian was already sitting there. And then they're chatting, and then Matt rolls up in Matt typical fashion. And then he takes off with Jesse.
Don't hold on.
Yeah, don't hold on. But yeah, you're right. The only things that they actually do is snowboard very briefly on the dirt bikes. Out of all the extreme sports that are like portrayed in the movie, I think it's only those two.
Yeah, the snowboard. It's like the middle snowboard scene, which is it cracks me up. This is a movie with 3 big snowboard parts.
Yeah.
And they at least show them standing like with you know, I think Matt goes down the tables, right? Oh, Matt and Jesse. I can't remember.
Yeah.
A couple they actually show that like it's like a small little hole and they try to jump the tables, juke the tables, right?
Jib the table.
Jib the tables, that's the term.
Yeah. So back up to the first scene where Matt has the swim goggles on instead of the ski goggles.
Yeah.
That was something that stuck out to me too, from like flash forward to today. I'm like, that is something you would absolutely see on TikTok. Like somebody being extra in some sort of way.
Yeah, to stand out.
To stand out. Yeah. And that was just Matt. Like
That's funny. I didn't catch that. Wow.
yeah. Yeah. He had like these green and pink like swim goggles that just over covered his eyes as he's snowboarding in the mountains.
That is yeah, and he wears the gas mask when they're sitting outside of the Porta Johns.
Mm,
During the paintball fight.
Yeah, and he wears. Oh yeah, paintball fight too.
The
And then
campground paintball fight. Yeah.
yes, and then he also wears ski goggles at some point, but it's not when he's skiing or snowboarding. Maybe I'm your miracle. Yeah, so the girl shows up, and I felt like this was such a classic 2000s introduction of the hot girl.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You know, it's like literally slow motion, rolling up a sleeve, smoke behind her, like her like
Mm-hmm.
slow look.
Hmm. Yeah. I was half expecting her to be a mechanic in the shop. I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be like the girl who can't be bamboozled. And then I thought it was interesting that he was like, with an actual calculator, $2,000. She's like, oh, and then he turns out to be her brother or cousin. Was it her brother?
Man, I'm
And
trying
he's
to run
like,
a business here.
yeah, he's like literally robbing her.
And that
I
was
was like, that
Vince Vaughn, I believe.
what?
It wasn't actually. I just think that guy looks exactly like Vince
Oh,
Vaughn. It's such a weird part, especially when you realize it was her brother, because she's like, just give me the bottom line. And he goes, well, you got cams, carbs, and like has a little calculator and pushes a couple buttons and holds it up to her.
yeah. I got
2000.
struts too. What's the big idea?
Switches his hat. I only paid $2,000 for this whole thing. Puts hat on backwards. Then I'd say bye bye, baby.
And then all
And
of a sudden her miracle shows up.
yeah, well, maybe
Yeah.
I'm your miracle,
Brian.
Brian. So the introduction to the girl into the trip, and then we get motorbike time.
That was my favorite. Like
Yeah,
my blood started pumping at that point.
it's good.
A little bit.
Yeah, tell us about that. You've biked a bit in the dunes.
Yeah.
I noticed the tires. What it with the
Paddle tires.
yeah,
Yeah, specific for sand.
beautiful.
So I was like, because I grew up riding, and so when they pulled out of the shop and there's the 3 bikes in the back of the truck, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what kind of a day they're about to have. Like you just get that feeling when you're about to go do something that you're excited and you're familiar with, right? You're like, it's a familiar feeling. I'm looking forward to what's happening, and all the things are like, this is all in alignment. So when I saw the truck pull out of the parking lot with the 3 bikes in the back, I'm like, all right, like they crammed maybe one extra bike in the back of that truck that was, you know. So then when the music kicked in, it's my style of music, my
Yeah,
style of,
POD.
yeah. And then like this dude's just sending it off a dune. And I'm like, all right, this is cool. Like I can't do that, but I like to watch other people do that and wish that I could. Yeah, that was good part of the movie. Good part.
Hmm.
What else do you got for us, Heath?
Yeah, so then the next is they go to the Golden Gate Bridge, which is what line is said there, Kyle?
Are we on? Is it on or is it on standby?
Just pee over
Put
the
it on
ledge.
standby. Just pee over the ledge.
Where do you see that? We could just have a whole pod of just us quoting the movie. It'd be entertaining
yeah.
to no one but us. The next is the skateboard scene, which is like I think it's the worst part. It's fun. It's a fun like watching people do tricks on skateboards, but there is no lead up. They literally just like then we went skateboarding in a voiceover and show them for 3 minutes, like 3.5
What?
minutes skateboard,
Okay.
like random people skateboarding.
What was it that they ate? Because it was right about that time in the movie. Remember, they had something in a jar and they said Squigger rocks. And I'm like, what is Squigger?
Well, it was the pickled eggs from
Is
the
that what it was?
yeah, from the beginning.
Okay.
Like I think there was a joke that because then it was also confusing because he said these guys hooked us up with sourdough and the keys to the city. It's like, did they put the sourdough in the pickling water and then ate it? Like,
Is that a reference to
Yeah,
something I'm not aware of?
I was like, someone gave you bread or like bread dough? I don't know what sourdough is.
it feels very slang term, but no one else knew what they were talking about, you know?
Yeah.
Because we were viewing a friend group and we weren't in on the joke. That's why.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm really disappointed about? That there's not an Extreme Days soundboard on the internet.
What do you mean? Like just fans of that?
No, like remember the soundboards of movies? Like there'd be Napoleon Dynamite soundboard. You could click the different phrases and it would say it.
Yeah,
I just tried to find one and there's not one there.
we can make one. Let's do it.
Oh, okay.
The
You do
rest
it,
of our
I'll use
lives.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the movie, but not like I'm not gonna dedicate that much time of my life to doing it.
And then the fart scene is up next,
Oh yes.
where they light their own farts on fire. Yeah,
Have you
I've never tried
That's
it.
so, oh man.
I've heard it's
I'm
state of
so glad that she walked in and then when she left and it got dark again, Brian was like, is there any way that could have been attractive?
and then of course Matt
No.
fires another one off. Oh, and they're right back to it. Just
Yeah.
instantly forgot about what just happened, but we're enjoying ourselves too much. That was actually part of the trailer for the movie.
Oh yeah, it was. I remember that. Um, and then so we have the drama. So we have the shopping scene, the maxi pad, the he helps the homeless. In a very
Yeah,
like she sees him help the homeless. So it's like, oh, this guy, there's something different about him. He gave a box of cereal to someone. There's something special.
He dropped the whole bag.
That's true. He was giving him a box and then he went for the bag and she was like, huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it while she was watching. He did it out of the kindness of his own heart, but she just so happened to catch it.
Exactly. It was a perfect moment.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Too bad they couldn't catch it on camera. Oh wait.
Then the snowboarding scene, the second snowboarding scene where what's it called? The tables?
Jib, J-I-B.
Jib. You
I
can tell
believe
I'm not either. I thought you were more of
a
that than I was.
I'm a skier.
Can you jib a table on downhill skis?
No.
No. Well, there you go.
I mean, I can tempt. It probably won't end well for me. I don't know if I can complete it.
But can people?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. It's just sliding it.
Okay. Well, we'll all try. I'll hold you all accountable. We're all going to try it.
Yeah, just do it.
Are we going to hold hands and yell fish snackums as we do it too?
Yes, we are.
Phase 4 of the Patreon is you get a video of us trying to jib a table.
For $50 a month, you can watch our progression as we try to jib tables.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. And then the next is the PAX 217 part, which we already talked about.
Yeah.
The music video, and it is so random. Like it does feel like they stop a concert to have this random girl come up on stage and talk about her snowboarding experience. And whenever the shot is on her and the crowd is just like standing, like you see that backs of the heads, but they just look so unimpressed. Like they just look so not into it. Like it was just so funny to me too, because and it makes sense that they were probably all really tired because they've been shooting a music video all day.
Oh yeah.
It's like, hey, for a break, guys, you don't have to jump around to the band, and we're just gonna have you listen to this girl, and everyone's just like dead eyes and just like looking at her. And whenever someone cheers and they're like, oh, get her on the stage, and they chant her name, and then they're the only ones cheering. It's so random.
They just kind of went in and took over the lodge at that point in time. Because my assumption was that was like the lodge at the ski resort or whatever it was. You know, they were snowboarding, and then all of a sudden they went from snowboarding on the hill to in the lodge. Matt's eating hummus out of the container with, you don't know if they're mittens or oven mitts.
Oh, yep. There you go.
That's kind of up for interpretation, but it's basically a scene cut to this concert. I always interpreted it as it was basically like in the lodge at the bottom of the ski hill.
That makes sense. It's logical, but we don't know that. We didn't see them. It's always interesting, like a movie, if it would explain that, you think there'd be some type of like shot of them walking in or
Right.
something, which feeds into the whole like these are just skits. Like, oh, and now this is happening with these same characters.
So if you think about it, what you just said with them walking in, like, I don't really ever think that they showed, like, they showed them traveling a lot or a frequent amount in the car, but they never really transitioned scenes. They just kind of jumped to another one. You know what I mean? Like the only time they ever went from one to another is when they were walking into the hotel room. Am I
Yeah.
wrong about that?
No, yeah, not a lot of
Cut, here we
transitions,
are.
more just like cut to the next scene.
Yeah.
And even when there is like a scene in between, it's just like a sky view of a car snaking along a road or something,
Yeah.
unless it's like a scene where they're sitting in the car calling each
Yeah.
other on their cell phones.
Which it really, in my opinion, keeps your attention because it's always very rapidly changing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought that was cute. That was one thing that I think was well done, or a good idea, maybe, was like how he'd call her on the cell phone when they were 5 feet apart.
Yeah.
It's a
And
meet,
that
it's
was
a
a
meet
nice
cute.
touch.
It's a meet cute.
Meet cute.
And so next we have the kung fu battle for the campsite.
Yes.
Yes.
I'd love to
It
hear.
was
Yeah.
it was way longer than I thought that it would be. I thought it would be like a 60 to 60 second trope, like, oh, that was funny. Haha. It was like a full 2.5 minutes, something like that, maybe
No
longer,
music.
of like poorly dubbed, yeah, no music, poorly dubbed over dialogue on purpose.
Mhm.
And like fight scenes. Like they they choreographed fight scene for each of these people. Uh, so I think the fact that it was longer than I anticipated made it funnier for me because it just kept going and going. And I was like, this is just this movie. Like, this is just how it goes. And also
Right.
the fact that everyone was like moving their mouths in gibberish and voicing it over, except for Matt. Matt was just talking regular. I loved that.
I don't even think that they were saying logical words because you couldn't lip read any of it.
Unless I would love to know if they actually spoke like Mandarin or something, or like Japanese. Like, hey guys, you got to learn a new language for this movie.
They've got a dialect coach. They
Yeah.
just have to like learn another language. Like, well, actually, we won't be able to hear you, but we need you to say things that are real.
Yeah, we're really into authenticity here and like the craft. So,
I think this might be the best scene of the movie. Um, to me, it was always the people that me and Kyle made watch this movie. If they laughed at nothing else, they would laugh at this scene. Like, I don't know. Did you feel that?
Yeah, I think so, which it never made sense to me because it wasn't the funniest part of the movie to me.
Yeah, I guess it's almost more of a classic. Like we could make that scene, like recreate it, and people would know
Yeah.
exactly what we're doing. Like you don't need context for the movie.
Yeah.
It's just like it's a skit, you know.
So it's the most relatable thing to whoever's watching it. Because this movie really for us was like most of our inside jokes came from this movie. And since we had a lot of inside jokes, like, and we all found humor in like the weird, funny things that weren't really supposed to be funny, like the way somebody said something, or just like the kind of the hidden funny things, you know what I mean? And so I think that's really where a lot of the humor stuck out to all of us and why it carried through so much too.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah. What a trip. This movie is a road trip.
It is. A wise man once said, what was it? Because that was part of the movie, which is after, I believe, briefly after that. Maybe it was before the campground scene. He said a wise man once said something about life is a trip, and then something about trip becomes your life. I don't know. Something. Watch the movie and figure it out.
I was gonna say that's my favorite Kyle quote of the episode right there.
The tagline for the movie on IMDb is just "Life is a trip."
Life is a trip.
Mm.
Hey, uh, when God throws a curveball, you better not
Don't
duck.
duck.
So you just might miss something.
Yes.
Curveball number 3. How many? There are 3 curveballs.
Curveball number 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait a minute. We can't go very much further because, like, rewind back to the skateboard incident, right? They said the locals there had a saying, and it
Ooh.
was, you
I know the
remember the
English.
saying?
I remember the English version.
So the second part is an
It was
Aragos.
literally Latin. It was like,
Yes.
why the skateboard kids know Latin? That threw me off. I was like, what are you
Well,
talking?
the skateboard kids had a little kind of John Wick style underground, pay in gold coins type of situation going on. So
It's like, yeah,
So
we ran into
that
these punks and they said explorium unum semper fi, and that means
what's it mean,
that
Kyle?
saying, it says, I am, therefore I do.
Mm.
But that saying, it is, I'm gonna butcher it now. I'll look at, but it's an Aragos sum is the second half of it, and I actually have that stitched on a custom made motorcycle jacket that I have
Beautiful.
because ever since I heard that, I'm like, that's the saying for my life,
Mm.
right there.
I was
Just
really
that.
hoping you were gonna say I have a tattoo from Extreme Days.
No, but it is going actually. So in like, I don't know if you saw on Facebook not too long ago, like I was looking for a tattoo artist. And so part of the tattoo that I'm going to get, it's going to be not to go off on a huge rabbit trail, but it's going to be sleeve style, mural style on my shoulder and then sleeve. Well, there's going to be a compass, and the chain for the compass, kind of like a pocket watch style compass. The chain for the compass is going to come across my chest, and the chain is going to be that saying that will then go into the compass. There's a whole bunch of ideas, but I will have an Extreme Days tattoo.
That's beautiful.
I'm not
I
even
think
joking. It's gonna happen.
it looks like because that sounded really familiar to me because they say, what do they say? I am, therefore I do.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
So,
I'm gonna figure this out.
okay. It might be a play on Rene Descartes, who was a French philosopher in the 1590s or 1600s. And he said, I do, therefore I am. So it might be a joke about like philosophical thought. And these skater kids were like, no, I am, therefore I do, or something like
Yeah.
that, which I think is really funny.
Yeah, that's great. Maybe it's a little bit of their joke mantra. There's some levels to this movie. There's
Yeah, yeah.
there's more than you
It's like an
think.
onion. It's like
Yeah,
an onion.
with the layers.
Okay, I got
Yeah.
it. So it's correcto ergos sum, and if you see on the jacket,
But oh, there you go.
it's right there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice jacket.
Thank you. I've never worn it. There's my last name in
Mm.
Italian colors.
Ascione, is that how you say
Yeah.
that?
Well, it says ciao in the middle. It's screaming words, so. But on the back of the motorcycle jacket, it's my last name, and the middle initials or the middle letters in the different color just so happen to say ciao.
Beautiful. I've known Kyle for a long time, and I've heard so many people butcher his last name, so I'm entertained by it. All right. So then we got another. We have the second paintball when they're sleeping in the car.
Um,
Oh no, so we got the bathroom scene after the kung fu. They lose the kung fu fight.
yeah.
But besides years of training by Grandpa G. Um, then there's the kind of message. This is it the Christian message, pretty heavy right here. Um,
And then there's the antagonist, Corey. What are you gonna take me to church now, Jesse?
she just did.
She just did.
Boom. Not today, Satan.
Then the second paintball game in the car. Yeah, and I brought up the tank and hopper. It's just amusing to me when it's like, yeah, anybody who's held a paintball gun before, it's like, oh, there's where the paintball's coming from, or oh, there's a tank. Okay, here's the movie reference. You brought that up, and it's like you said, is there a movie reference in this? There is a movie reference. Do you guys know the movie reference in that paintball fight?
No.
He yells Wolverines when he's holding two paintball guns.
Yeah.
Which is from a Patrick Swayze classic called Red Dawn.
Oh, is it?
Wow.
Yeah,
I
so
thought he was literally trying to impersonate Wolverine, the fictional character.
oh, no, that makes sense. No, but there's a guy literally in that movie holding two machine guns and yells Wolverines. Well, actually just one machine gun, but
Because they're called the Wolverines, aren't they? Like they call
yeah.
themselves that.
That's they call them, that's the class trip. Kyle, if you haven't seen it, it's a great movie.
I was just gonna ask you, what movie is that?
It's Red Dawn.
The Red Dawn.
Just Red Dawn.
Okay.
There's a remake. Watch the original Patrick Swayze one. And it's about it's what if what if Russians took over, like started invaded the US during the Cold War, and like these high school kids have to like go into the mountains and like guerrilla warfare the Russian military. It's crazy. It's like, how was this made? But it's delightful. So there's our movie reference.
You can tell me what that reference was just from. Patrick Swayze voice.
I don't know. I was like, he's talking about something. I couldn't pick it up.
Trailer Park Boys. Conky.
Ooh.
Because he calls Julian Patrick Swayze. Have you seen much of Trailer Park Boys?
No, I have not.
Oh my goodness! All right, I'll just leave it at
that. I've seen like clips and stuff, but
okay.
So after that paintball match, we've got so I think that's the relationship. They're by the pool, right? And this is again I feel like it was just the culture, not even like Christian. I mean, it was just Christian culture at the time, just like they kiss and it's like too much for her, so she leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and then she writes him a letter about how like I've woke up alone before, and I'm just like, whoa, you guys were just chatting by a pool.
Which is very 1990s youth group style to handle things, is write somebody a letter about your feelings afterwards.
Yeah, you should. We should all write each other letters after this podcast and express our true feelings.
I'm gonna voice text you is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. I'm gonna send you a voice memo, but it's gonna sound like I'm reading you a talk text.
It's gonna be read in the voice of I don't know, pick somebody.
You pick somebody.
Well, I can't. I have the image of the person I'm trying to think of. Black dude, white hair.
Morgan Freeman?
Yes. I'm gonna voice memo
How did you? How?
No. Just.
How was that? How did you forget Morgan Freeman? How did you get Morgan Freeman?
I didn't forget him. I forgot his name temporarily.
No, I know, but how did you forget his name? And how did Andrew get Morgan Freeman from that description?
I'm just really good. I'm really good.
Morgan Freeman? He rode a bike. Pee Wee Herman?
Has bones for a skeleton. Who am I talking about?
Has bones for skeleton.
Everyone has bones for skeleton.
I mean, rubber bones.
Wait, this is the real thing now? I don't
No, I'm
Stretch
just saying
Armstrong.
obscure reference to try and pick out an actor. Rubber
Rub
bones for a skeleton.
I
Jim
don't.
Carrey.
Mr. Bean.
Why does he have rubber bones?
He's like that dude is like there's not a solid thing about his body.
Just wiggling all around.
Yeah.
Okay, so what should we share the Rotten Tomatoes thing?
Yes, I got a couple more notes. We'll wrap
Okay, all
up
right.
and we'll do that. So I did want to bring up, so she leaves, Brian's distraught. They break the fourth wall, which was another thing that's like, we like this, it's funny. Um the way they always eat powdered donuts in place of drinking alcohol. When
Bro, you're a mess.
when whenever a character in this movie is having a rough day, at the end of the day, they're hunched over something, and it would typically be like alcohol, and it is a case of powdered donuts, and they always have powder on their face. It's delightful because they're like, how do we make this drunk scene? But we're Christians, so powdered
Yeah.
donuts.
And instead of
Um,
taking shots, they're like drinking hot sauce.
yes.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that scene.
No.
Um, but so okay, so the movie wraps up, kicks in Entertaining Angels by the Newsboys.
Yep.
Um, so the movie ends with they go back, they pick up Jesse, and they go snowboarding in Alaska. They're like, "Hey, we want you to come with us. We bought you a ticket." They sell
Mhm.
Grandpa G's old car, and they go to Alaska. Here's my question: they were out of
Okay.
money. They sell the car for $1,500. They buy plane tickets, which I think they said were 400 a piece, I believe.
Yeah, they needed $400.
And okay, so they spent all their money, right?
No.
They Oh, it's only $400?
Yeah, because that was the thing
Okay.
is the group of French tourists found some bad pate and now they were unloading their plane ticket. I told you I
Yes.
could quote this thing.
Yeah, they had
And
to
now
get rid
they're
of them.
unloading their
Okay,
plane ticket.
I was thinking more nowadays, like, okay, they were each spending $400 because I was
No.
like, how are they getting to Alaska? Okay, so they spent $400 total out of their $1,500, leaving
Yes.
them $1,100.
Yes.
Very nice.
Thank you. That's multiplication.
Math.
Um, and no, that's not what.
It's something. It's
Yeah,
something.
hey, geometry, my dear boy.
Because I
Geometry.
remember thinking, like, all right, they're trying to sell the car. You got three of them hustling people on the front, like on the front lawn, which very eager entrepreneurial status at that point in time. Like, we're just gonna get somebody to buy this thing. But then they keep dropping the price. They started at 1,000. They keep dropping the price, and they went from $500 to 250. And I'm like, you can't sell it for 250. You got to come up with another $150.
Yeah.
Bad move.
Yeah, I was gonna say they didn't. It makes a little more sense now that they still had money because I was like, my initial thought was like they're stuck in Alaska, they don't have any money, and they also, the second part I'm gonna say is still happening because like now they have enough money that they can get back home. They've got like $1,000 to drive back, so they probably have round trip tickets. So they're in Seattle, or no, they're in Washington, right? Yakima,
Well, and if you
Washington.
remember from the beginning of the movie, they only started with like less than $900 to do the whole entire trip.
So they can do it again.
Yeah.
They can go back. But then also Grandma G, who they realized, Grandpa G has passed away. They knew that, but she's destitute now.
Yeah,
And
they literally steal the one thing that she can sell and they sell it. And she's like, yay, I don't have any money. Go to
The bank
Alaska.
owns the house now.
yeah,
And they're like, she
We
like
lost
literally says,
everything.
like, yeah, she says, I don't have anything. My husband is dead, and I don't even own the house I live in. And they go, dang it. We really wanted some money from Grandpa G. She's like, You're telling me.
And she's so chill. They're like, sorry about grandpa. It's like, it's okay. It was just his time. He's in a better place
Yeah,
now. I'm like, I think
yeah,
he's only been dead for like a week or two at this
yeah,
point. And yeah, it's so funny because like they leave her. She's like, I don't know. She's probably gonna get foreclosed on.
yeah. And she's like, I'm so happy you're going to Alaska.
Yeah. And it's so funny because especially like they end it, they're all just like carving a mountain. The third snowboarding scene. Just
Guys,
living their
I
best
gotta go to
lives.
Yakima, Washington. I'm out. What do you mean you're out? I gotta go to Yakima, Washington. No, we're all in it.
Uh Well, what a delight this has been discussing this movie.
Huh.
It is so random. I remember like I talked to Kyle about doing a movie and it's like, we got to do Extreme Days. So this is where we're starting.
I'm glad you picked me for this. I'm like, all right, like, yeah. I if Heath was gonna pick me for a movie, that would be the one.
Yep.
And I'm glad that you remember more than I do, because that makes complete sense of how this movie came into existence in our lives. Because the first remembrance I have of it was walking through, it wasn't Horizon Books. What was the Christian bookstore? Do you remember?
It was like, was it like something Stone or something?
Something like that. Anyways, the Christian bookstore, and you'd always walk over in the kids section, and they had whatever interactive thing over there. And you look at the movies, and this one stuck out to me over top of anything else. I'm like, I have to watch this movie. That makes a lot of sense because that's what I remember. And then you saying that I introduced it to you would connect the dots there.
Andrew, there was in our mall, there was a Christian bookstore and they would have that kind of stuff. And my distinct memory of going to this Christian bookstore is going over to the redemption card section, which is a Christian version of Magic the Gathering. And
Wow.
look them up. It's I don't think you can even fight them. I think it's just like cards with like anime, like magic style, like angels and demons and stuff. And
Just trading cards.
yeah, and there's like Bible verses on them and stuff.
Dude, yeah. Nice.
Let's
Wow. That's
let's
interesting that you guys were homeschooled and could go to the mall. I wasn't allowed to do that.
there you go. You're like, wow, you guys are actually pretty liberal. Like that's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's crazy.
You
Yeah.
heathen homeschoolers.
Yeah, I was a actual Christian and I couldn't go to the mall. So anyway, Rotten Tomatoes.
You Pharisees.
If you want to talk about restrictions, I remember being encouraged not to walk down a section of the mall because there was a Victoria's Secret down there. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
can't do that.
there's
Walk on
sin.
the other side of the aisle. All right, Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's wrap it up. Do some reviews. I would prefer the worst ones, but read whatever you want, and then I'd love to finish it with our best quote of the movie.
Okay, so Stream Days PG 2001 adventure action 1 hour and 35 minutes. 43% on the tomato meter, 90% on the audience score. And I've not actually, you guys are going to be familiar with Rotten Tomatoes stuff more than me.
I love that because that means basically that most people who watch it like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like it's like a bad movie score, but then like 90% of people are like, thumbs up to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So one guy says, silly but worth the ride. He is labeled as a top critic, Mr. Showbiz, Cody Clark. Another one, extreme sports have rarely been as markedly unexciting as they are in this road trip through mediocrity.
Wow.
I don't agree with your, well, yeah, I Mr. Saviov.
Oh, so like how you're calling this guy out
Yeah.
as like what 22-year year ago guy.
July 27th, 2021. A recent one.
Wow.
5 stars. Objectively, this is a horrible movie, but considering This is the most I have ever laughed watching a Christian movie, 10 out of 10. Also, hi, John, can I be in the vid? That's the review.
That's a good review. I like that.
Yeah. The greatest movie to grace God's green earth. That right there.
Wait,
Should
you
have
write
been
that mess up?
Should have been my review,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
there.
no, actually, I found a review right here that says this movie defined my childhood. It's the best movie ever made. I am getting a tattoo of this movie on my chest. Kyle Ashner. Huh. That's interesting.
Weird.
All right. Here's a half a star. Beware. It's one of those Christian movies that disguise itself as something quote unquote hip and cool. Your clue should be the use of extreme in the title. It tries, it is not. In fact, it is painful.
See, that's
About
when
as
you're
painful
like,
as being shot with a paintball going down the slopes.
Must have been a public schooler.
see, that's when I'm like, hey, that's my little brother you're talking about. Like, back off. It's trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Greatest movie to grace God's green earth. I'm good with that.
Beautiful.
Terrific.
All right, let's do some, final thoughts. Andrew, we haven't heard from you a ton. This is a new movie for you.
Yeah. So, final thoughts and favorite quote.
Yeah. Kick it off with
Okay. Because I have one. Final thoughts. I think that review that said, like high score. I don't know if I'd say 10 out of 10, but high score 6 or 7 out of 10. Because it's the most I've laughed during a Christian movie. Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. I thought it was very funny. Yeah, very laid back. I enjoyed my experience, and I just really wanted to watch, like I could tell that I wanted to watch it on a VHS on a little cube TV like this big. And when you touch it, it like shocks you. That was the energy I was getting. Favorite quote was "For the love of donuts, let's go."
you.
I love that.
Early on in the movie.
For the love of donuts, let's go.
And I was like, and that's what reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, this is a Christian movie. They don't swear and they don't do alcohol.
I never made the connection with taking shots of hot sauce versus alcohol because we would do things like that as kids. We would, dare somebody to snort salt or eat a goldfish or,
a live goldfish, unfortunately.
You what?
A live goldfish, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, a live goldfish at the fair, peer pressure. We're out of our element in the wild. Swallow goldfish.
There's girls here. I got to do something cool. I'll eat this goldfish.
But we did get Travis Duncan with spoons really good at a youth camp.
I forgot about, that was that when they play spoons in this movie, and it's you trick somebody by like putting it in your teeth and smacking them on the head, and someone goes around behind them and hits them.
The opposing person,
The opposing person. And it's a prank that I did not think was going to work. And we pranked a ton of people with it, like to the point that I started feeling bad because I feel like I was just like smacking people on the head. They're like, I will get this. I will get this.
You have to realize what's going on.
Hey, it's all in the approach.
It is all in the approach.
Oh, amazing. So, Andrew, what's your top quote?
I told you.
Oh my
For
goodness.
the love of donuts. Let's go.
Love of donuts.
Jeez.
Beautiful. I'm sorry. I'm distracted. I'm still watching.
You wanted to hear again.
I'm still watching the PAX 217 music video. So
yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep watching that tonight. It's gonna be on loop all night.
Honestly, the song, I don't even know what song it is, but it's been stuck in my head since I watched this movie. It's the move slow, get low, back up and burn out, take time. You're a super fan. Oh, yeah. You're a super fan.
That's the song name is Super Fan.
Oh, there you go. You're a super fan.
I do know that.
Oh, yeah. I just love that punk. Gotta love that punk. Okay,
So super fan by fan mail.
fan mail. That makes sense. They're fans. They're super fans. All fits. Kyle, let's hear your closing thoughts and favorite quote.
Oh, closing thoughts is just that this movie will always hold a special place in my heart because I feel like it shaped a lot of how I viewed childhood and how I wanted, you know, how I viewed myself growing up, kind of. And then now that I look back at it now, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of similarities. Um, Even just like the total let's go and do something extreme and figure it out as we go, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then just to have the camaraderie of friendship along with that, like I mean, I will always give this movie a 10 out of 10, always. Um, to the soundtrack, to, the extreme sports, the adventure, the humor, everything. Um, my favorite quote still has to be during the cutaway skateboard session. Um, Concrectos ergo sum. I am, therefore I do.
Hmm. Maybe I'm your miracle.
Maybe I'm a miracle. Heath, what's yours?
Okay, so I can't remember the quote, so it can't be my
Well,
favorite. No, so
what?
you need to finish it for me, Kyle. So it's, do we have any fudge, any canned fish products,
Yep.
and I can't remember the third one.
Is it mayonnaise?
I don't think so. I'm like, man, I'm wrecking my brain. I was literally trying to look up the quote. So I will go, maybe I'm your miracle. That's gonna be my favorite
Nice.
quote.
Just vamp for a second. I'm gonna figure this out.
Um, I don't know what those guys were talking about in there.
Back
I'm not
there.
really a public speaker. Would you like a falafel with that?
Baba Ganoush. Abu, I'm leaving it up to you now. Mad, all right.
Uh, that's all right. We'll pass on that. So
Okay.
that's all we have for
I'll
today.
text you.
That was a fun. Yeah, I was gonna say we'll put it in another episode, another movie podcast. We'll just be like, oh, by the way, that was the quote we were trying to figure out in that movie. So thanks for joining us today, Kyle.
Well, you are welcome. Thanks for
Yes.
having me. I've
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoyed this.
Yeah. So yeah, do you want to plug your podcast real quick?
Yeah, podcast is 7 Day Hustle. Andrew, I'll tell you about it. So the 7 Day Hustle
Perfect.
podcast is geared around basically high performing people and high performing life. Everything from structure to discipline to personal development to business to things like that. Like, how do we elevate ourselves and our surroundings to the highest of our potential? And so I will do a combination of guests on the show. And then I'll do myself also just kind of like a Kyle rant platform.
Mhm.
And we've got a small following. It is a Blacktop Banter sponsored podcast. Blacktop Banter is for the paving industry because that's what I do. So Blacktop Banter is a media company designed to elevate, promote the asphalt industry. And so through friends and connections, they're one of the sponsors of the podcast as well. So um, there's a lot of people that listen that know me. And then some of those tend to follow the podcast, maybe even from around the country. I've got one dude in um, where's he in? Australia that listens to it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Can you
But
sign off like you would from with that guy from Australia? I'm gonna vamp for a second, and you're gonna show us how
I,
that
I
Yeah.
guy.
I don't know exactly how he would. He
No, no,
says
no, no, no.
mate.
From the beginning of this podcast, you referenced something. You're
Is it okay? Is it on or is it on standby?
No,
What are you talking?
your
What?
camera.
My camera.
Our joke we made. You were like, you can change the camera. You can do. No,
Oh, all
here,
right.
I'm gonna vamp. Stop
Okay.
talking so the camera goes off you. So we're gonna wrap up today. Andrew, thanks for being a part. Thanks for watching our weird movie from 2001. Kyle,
An absolute pleasure.
Kyle, why don't you sign off for us?
This is Kyle signing off from the other side of the world.
Oh, that was our stupid joke. It's like he's like, check out what I can do, and he's like, oh, you're from Australia.
And you know what? For the people who are listening and do not watch the videos, Kyle's upside down right now.
Yeah.
On
Kyle's
screen
upset.
in the video. I found this cool feature on Zoom where you can rotate.
It's beautiful.
I'm just gonna
Right.
do this for all of mine now and see how many people catch on and say something about it.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks for being on. Andrew, thank you for joining. Kyle, thank you for being a guest. Go check out the 7-Day Hustle podcast. See you later. Baba Ganoush.
See ya.
Baba Ganoush.
Falafel.